is The Herd, wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, sponsored by Firestone Complete Auto Care. Keep your car running newer, longer. Christine Leahy is joining me on the show today, and in 1 hour from now, we have a major announcement on the show, a very exciting announcement on the show that makes me very, very happy for different reasons that I'm usually happy. Usually I'm just happy if I get some Firestone tires.
A good haircut? You were very happy about your haircut that you got yesterday.
Westbrook has a bad game. I'm happy.
I heard what you did yesterday. I was laying on the beach, and everyone was telling me that I needed to hurry back because you were crushing Westbrook unnecessarily.
Well, he plays again tonight, so he can turn that series around in his eyes. Let me start with this, though. So last week, this made Christine happy. I came out and I said, listen, LeBron's still amazing, but the NBA is no longer beholden to LeBron James. Like when Michael Jordan left, the ratings caved. Seriously. The NBA lost 45 to 50% of their ratings when Michael Jordan left. They didn't have anybody in the wings. They didn't have any dynasties. They didn't have stars people could put their arms around. The league caved, and it caved for several years. But I'm watching Philadelphia last night, and I'll triple down what I said. Because of the Sixers' rise, because of Ben Simmons, the league will be fine moving forward with or without LeBron James. Listen, in 2018, the Sixers did something again last night that nobody else does. They were terrible from three-point land, and they still blew out a playoff team. Philadelphia right now is the most talented team in the East. They have to me, an all-time point guard talent who's only going to get better. They have a legit big, cross your fingers, Embiid on his health. They have enough three-point shooters. I believe they have to get another wing player to beat Boston this point forward. And the East is incredibly vulnerable. I don't think Philly this morning, this team, is a special team. I think they have two really special players, and because in 2018 of the Celtics injuries and LeBron's mess and nobody trusts Milwaukee and Washington and Toronto, they are the best team this morning in the East. I don't think they're a special team. I think they're going to be next year, and I think Boston's going to be next year. So hear me out. LeBron, here's the way it's always worked. The West has never needed LeBron. We don't see him much. I live out here. He makes a trip out here. But in the East, if LeBron sprained an ankle for the previous 10 years in the playoffs, sorry, we're all watching like Netflix. That is no longer the case. Boston is a very crucial Eastern market. Starting next year when they get healthy, the dynasty begins. A decade of great. Philadelphia, I don't think they're a complete great team yet. I think they need to go after a Paul George or a wing player. But I think they're close, and it's happening really, really fast. So I'm tripling down again on it. The West has never relied on LeBron. They got the Warriors are a dynasty. Houston's fascinating. The Lakers brand is huge. West is fine. But this has been a bar stool missing a leg in the NBA now for 10 years. The East has not only been pathetic, they've been uninteresting without LeBron. And Philadelphia proved again last night it is just not the case. We are going to have two dynasties just in the East starting next year. Boston's going to have an unbelievable starting five. Philadelphia, I don't think to start next year will be as good as Boston. That's why I think they need to make a move in the offseason or make a move at the trading deadline to get a Paul George level player. But what Boston and Philadelphia ensure, watching the Sixers last night, the league is no longer desperate and beholden to LeBron. The West has always been fine. They're all good here in the East. LeBron, if he loses tonight, the Cavs get eliminated. I don't think it'll happen. I'm still watching. I'm not going to Netflix. Thanks, Sixers, and thanks to a lesser degree, Celtics, for making that happen. I'll get to LeBron and the Pacers later in the show. Let me shift gears to the NFL and the Dallas Cowboys because there's a story today. They've been doing everything so well. Love the Dez Bryant move. I love finding Dak. I love building the offensive line. I love those pass rushers. Jerry Jones said today the Cowboys, though, must fill Dez Bryant's void. They are open to moving up in the draft to get a wide receiver. Well, no, Jerry, no. Jerry, you've been doing everything right. First of all, you got 10 picks and you only have 3 needs. You could use a safety, you could use another wide receiver, and you could use another defensive tackle. But by the way, there's only 2 great receivers in this draft. One, Christian Kirk, will absolutely be available with your 19th pick, and the other, Calvin Ridley, cross your fingers, could be. But I have a theory on this when it comes to wide receivers. You never move up to get a wide receiver. Why? Because that is the one position none of us would argue that produces the most divas. Never tell or never show or never ever illustrate to a diva you desperately need him. We're trading picks to get that wide receiver. Don't do it. Take the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look at the success they've had on drafting wide receivers. Antonio Brown, gamer, grinder, 6th round. Hines Ward, gamer, tough, grinder, 3rd round. Emmanuel Sanders, tough kid, hard worker, 3rd round. Last year, who was the player in the 2nd round I said was the steal of the draft? USC's Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver, wants to prove to everybody. Oh, really? You don't think I'm a 1st-round pick? I'm going to show you I'm a 1st-round pick. The Steelers have made a living more than any team in this league finding receivers out of the 1st round. And they come in with a chip. They come in with resilience. They come in with toughness. They come in with something to prove. Who are the 2 1st-round picks at wide receivers that the Steelers pick? Plax, they got rid of him early. Santonio Holmes became a head case. Wide receivers always been the diva position. Don't show a wide receiver you're desperate for him. The Cowboys did that with Dez Bryant. They traded up to get him. And what did Dez do? Rewarded them with multiple years of neediness. Here's all you need to know about wide receivers. In 2012, 4 wide receivers were taken in the 1st round. 3 are already out of the league. The 4th one's on his 3rd team. In 2014, there were 5 wide receivers in the 1st round. 2 of the 5 are already on a 3rd team. 1 is on a 2nd team. 1 is the always needy OBJ. And 1 led Tampa Bay this past year to a 4th place finish in the NFC South. In 2015, 6 wide receivers in the 1st round. 6. 1 has hit. Amari Cooper, 1,000-yard season. Make it 2. And by the way, even now, let's be honest, he wasn't as good last year. Jerry. You've been doing everything right. You've come on this show. You built the offensive line. You gave your son Stephen power. You got rid of Dez. You took a gamble on Zeke, and it paid off. You found pass rushers. In later rounds, nobody can find pass rushers last couple of years like you. You have done everything right, Dallas. You are a legitimate organization. You've got 22 wins in the last 2 years in a tough division in the tougher NFC. And I read this story this morning, and I'm like, Jerry, do not move up in the 1st round or any round to get a wide receiver. You know how I feel about wide receivers. They've always been the icing. They're not the cake. But if it is a diva position, and history shows us it is, the one thing you do not do with a diva is show them how desperate you are to acquire them. You did it with Dez, and you couldn't get rid of him this year fast enough. You didn't even offer him a contract. You just cut him. So Jerry, just keep listening to Steven. Don't trade up for a wide receiver. It's all good. Coming up next, another example of why one player is driving me crazy and why I'm falling in love with another. That, plus a big announcement in 45 minutes, coming up. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. Goulet is holding on to the last couple of strands.
He's doing a good job. Leave him alone.
When you start to notice hair loss, Goulet, it's way too late. That's why John is going to forhims.com. It is a one-stop shop for wellness for men. Listen, thanks to science, baldness can be optional. These are well-known generic equivalents to name brand prescriptions. Okay? This is not snake oil pills. It's not the stuff you see at the gas station, those supplements on the counter. This is prescription solutions backed by science. There's no waiting room, not a weird doctor visit. Go to forhims.com right now, a trial month for $5 while supplies last. Go to the website for details. Website's easy, FORHIMS. Forhims.com/Colin. Forhims.com/Colin. $5 today gets you in.
Do your thing. Fulfill. Realize. Love. Not like. Be extraordinary.